Hello, and welcome back to the Fasting Focused Lifestyle Podcast. This week is going to be another great, insightful, kind of reflective episode where I'm going to challenge you to think about your mindset that you currently have. Is that something that works to your benefit, or do you think that's something that could be potentially holding you back from reaching the goals that you want for yourself? Stay tuned. Welcome to the Fasting Focused Lifestyle Podcast, where each week I will be discussing all things fasting and how it can become the most valuable tool in your personal toolkit so that you can live a long, healthy, and meaningful life. I'm your host, Vicki Sharon, and thank you for joining me. All right, so this week's episode is going to challenge your thoughts, your feelings, your ability to be mindful and as present as possible through this podcast. So, as I've said many times before, I feel it's super important to be as aware and present and here and just aware as possible throughout this process, as much as you can on a regular and consistent basis, as much as challenging as it can be, especially with the world that we live in, with our attention needing to be divided to multiple things, multiple devices, multiple people, and it's hard to really narrow in that focus. But I want you to think about as you go into this. First off, I want you to remember your body knows instinctively how to use the storage supply of fuel that you have. If you're trying to shed body weight, if you're trying to shed body fat, I want you to remember in the most simplest, basic, easy way possible that think to yourself right now, my body knows exactly how to balance these weight imbalances. Now, the thing is, we have to get out of our conscious own way and to stop thinking about solutions to our body, especially our health and weight, in an external solving the problem sort of thing, that our solutions have to come from manners and means externally outside the body. When truly, in the sense of weight loss, that's just not the case, because as we've known, as I've said, as you've seen the gain in popularity, fasting is the oldest healing modality in recorded human history for a reason. Our bodies, as I've said so many times before, and I will keep saying it, our bodies are like multi-million-dollar smart houses that our souls reside in, and they know exactly how to keep balances. And the thing that we have to remember is these external forces that we're allowing to come into our body, through our body, around our body, are factors that are affecting our health. We need to realize that it's more than just the food. It's the thoughts and feelings that we allow to be absorbed, to live and, exist in our mind. The feelings that we absorb from our outside circumstances and situations, the places that we willingly put ourselves in and participate with, people that we surround ourselves, what we read, what we consume. All of these external things influence so much. You probably know that to an extent, but really think about what your environment looks like. I'm a huge nerd, as you probably, hopefully, maybe have heard, and I'm really passionate about things I know and have read, and super excited to continue to grow and learn more and more. I'm really fascinated by epigenetics and how we are so heavily influenced what is around us, what is in our culture as we grow and develop from childhood, from infancy, and how that affects who we are, what we become, what we are limited by, how that affects our health by consequence, and stripping all those bits and pieces away. We're all the same. We are all the same human being, no matter where we come from, what we look like. Our bodies know exactly what to do. We are all the same. Like there's so much more similarities to us collectively as humans than what separates us. And realize that, as I said, with your body, knowing how to manage and mitigate those balances when the imbalances happen should be something that's thought of way simpler. Way, listen to me, way simpler. This should be thought of so much more in a simplified manner than what it is commonly put out with pertaining to weight and health and all this stuff. And with removing the thoughts and feelings that it has to be a fad, this pill, this powder, this patch, this drink, that it doesn't have to be these external purchases that we make, these just false, misleading claims, and just the garbage noise that's out there making us feel so much doubt and inability to know instinctively what's the right thing for us, making us doubt our thoughts and feelings on what is so much more common sense. It's these commonsensical things we doubt, and we think, oh no, that can't, we shouldn't be able to do it that way. It just reminds me of when I first started sharing about my journey, and back in 2018 when I started, I was very commonly met with thoughts and feelings of, oh, you're starving yourself, or oh, this is just another gimmick, oh, this is just another fad. Of course, I had those moments of like, oh my gosh, like taking offense to it, oh no. But then I thought about it. Why are they thinking this certain way? What is making them react with these questions, with these statements? As I said, with epigenetics, we're a product of our culture, of what we're surrounded in. And I think culturally, in diet standard, like diet culture, and that just brain, honestly, I'm going to call it, it's brainwashing culture of weight loss industry, general, whatever, that it doesn't have to be something external, that it doesn't have to be something that makes us feel like we have to reach for these fake artificial, like keto garbage, low calorie, chemical filled concoction of just artificial stuff, and doubting what we think um, are healthy foods, and measuring up to some food list of things that you can't eat, or oh, I can't believe we can't have this anymore. If there are foods on your list of a food list that you want but you can't have, that's, to me, that's not doing as much benefit to you as it would be to have healthier versions or making things your own. For example, my brain just goes to potatoes because I kid you not, I'm always, always, always having potatoes. Truly, I feel like I have potatoes every single day in some form. Tonight it was potato chips, and no shame whatsoever. I had salt and vinegar potato chips with a sub, a vegan sub from Publix. Shout out, side note, if you're vegan plant-based, Publix has some amazing, amazing, delicious vegan subs. Highly recommend to check them out, by the way. But I had salt and vinegar chips, Cape Cod salt and vinegar chips with my dinner tonight. I love potatoes. I will probably never stop eating them because they're fantastic and awesome. And uh, I feel like being a conscious, savvy consumer and knowing, hey, I'm going to have what I want, which is potatoes, because I love potatoes, but I'm going to make the better purchasing choice as a consumer, knowing, hey, I'm going to feel better and know that there's less processing. I know it's still a chip. I know it's still fried. I know whatever. To me, it's a better common sense choice to choose a bag of Cape Cod chips than to get, in my opinion, the Lay's brand, which you look on that list of ingredients, it's a freaking paragraph. Versus if you look at the ingredients for the Cape Cod chips, it's like a third, maybe even less than a third, be between like a quarter and a third of the list of ingredients on there. And I am a huge stickler for reading ingredients. And my kids will, like, even when we're going to the grocery store and they're behind me, they know I am always looking at the ingredients. And it's not checking the calories. I'm not checking all these other bullshit things that they put in big, bold, like, we're going to put a biggest font. Like, no, I personally feel that they'll put the stuff closer down to the bottom because they want it in thin little stuff. They don't want you to look at the ingredients. And unless you know that you're looking at the ingredients. I will obviously, as because I don't have meat or dairy, I look at the very, very bottom where the ingredients are, and I look to see if there's any milk or dairy. And then I check to see, like, okay, what are we looking at ingredient wise? And if you're also a savvy consumer, like, woo woo, by the way, looking at nutrition labels and ingredient lists, like, yeah, go, awesome job. I also look to see how long that list of ingredients is. And to me personally, if it looks like a paragraph, I probably won't get it unless it's something like a very, very rare, like once in a while sort of treat. And then I know that I can balance that out because we have to have moments of celebration in our lives, but no, obviously to keep it at a lower infrequent dose. But for the most part, I am looking to make sure that that ingredient list is, I would say 3 to 4 lines max. I try to go less than that. And I look for ingredients that are real, that are recognizable, that I know what they are, as minimally processed as possible. And truthfully, like if it doesn't have a label or ingredients at all, like that's probably one of the better choices. Choosing as, if you look on the can or package and it's 1 or 2 ingredients, that's ideal. That's ideal. I know that's not always possible, but to me, that's a better step in the direction as far as food lists, food choices, and feeling like you have to stay limited to certain ingredients and stay away from others because, like unless you have a severe allergy or I've been given doctor's notes because of medication effects or something like that. If it's some really out there, like I literally can't have like, if you've got, forgive me, my brain is not in that mode right now, but is it celiacs that, I don't know, that you physically have really bad upset reaction when you have different forms of wheat. Like if that's you, by no means, like obviously stay away from what you know is going to be harmful to you. That's the message I was trying to convey.
Hey there! Did you know Baker's always gives you savings and rewards on top of our lower than low prices? And when you download the Baker's app, you'll enjoy over $500 in savings every week with digital coupons. And don't forget fuel points to help you save up to $1 per gallon at the pump. Want to save even more? With a Boost membership, you'll get double fuel points and free delivery. So shop and save big at Baker's today. Baker's, fresh for everyone. Savings may vary by state. Restrictions apply. See site for details.
When you are in this mode of realizing that the food lists should, in my opinion, not even be something that you feel limited by. It should be something that you feel empowered by, which, side note, if you have the handbook, I do have it mentioned in the handbook about your food choices and how you should have that really good balance of your sometimes foods and your all the time foods. And there is a page also in the handbook that allows you to make that list of foods that you like. Integrate those food choices that satisfy those cravings and urges, but also coincide with your goals and what you're working on for yourself. I feel that's super important because it's behavior like that that's going to take you the long haul and provide permanence on this journey. Because if you go into this, as I'm sure if you're listening to this, chances are you've tried many other weight loss methods before, limiting and restricting the food choices on your journey that you're supposed to be on to repair health and wellness are only going to add to the restrictive punishment mentality and emotional kind of victim mentality in your mind. And it's going to add on to the poor relationship with eating. It's that all or nothing kind of mentality. And when you go and think of it as like a spectrum, so one side is, strictly adhering to the, your food lists, your weight loss, strict program. And the opposite end of that spectrum is like hitting McDonald's drive-through however many times a day, every single day of the week. Obviously, you can't be at the far end of the, end with hitting at McDonald's multiple times, but also being at the far opposite other end and having super restrictive choices realistically is not is not feasible long term either. You can't have either one of those sustainably long term. Realistically, there is a midpoint. There is a middle balance area. And truthfully, like a lot of us, even myself in weight loss maintenance, I'm sure many others attest to this as too, you can bop around that spectrum, right? It doesn't have to be strict all the time food, and it should definitely not be your sometimes food all the time. Find that balance that works for you. And even if you stay about three-fourths of the way most of the time, that's a fantastic place to be. And truthfully, like you can make a lot of weight loss progress with that as well, and being somewhere around the upper midpoint of that, eating spectrum, and still be successful on this. Because I feel like that was the majority of the choices that I had for my food. I made sure that throughout my entire weight loss journey, from the very beginning, that I was going to do this my way, and I was not going to let myself fall victim to restrictive lists or anything. And this was just something that I set out and put out there just for me, just for myself, because I knew that if I came into this with, immediately in my brain went back to that restrictive food list that was on the program that I was a part of. And I knew that that was super limiting. I remember, talking about it with my late husband and just saying, oh, we got to make rice out of cauliflower, and we can't have this, and we can't have potatoes, and we got to do that. Like, does that sound like a really good time? Because it definitely was not. It felt like food punishment jail, like torture, the opposite of Disney World for adults. Like, it was just not a good time. And to me, it was like, if I'm going to repair my health and wellness, why the hell should it not be fun? Like, it should be a fun, enjoyable experience. It should be without torture. It should be without restrictions. It should be something happens as simply and naturally as possible without surgical interventions. It should be something that I enjoy and I look forward to every single day. Because truthfully, like, how many diet programs and weight loss methods are out there that bring you excitement and joy that you look forward to doing? What's that? I heard crickets. Definitely heard. I heard crickets. There was cricket noises. No, because that's not a common thing. And the diet culture, just programming that's out there in general, is so backward. But I'm so glad also to see such a growth and continuation with how this lifestyle mindset of fasting is gaining traction. It's starting to get better and better recognition, acknowledgement, and just acceptance, really, from medical communities. These medical professionals are realizing, seeing the studies, seeing the data. Side note, can I audition for, like, if y'all need an autophagy, representative or something like that, like, hit me up. But truthfully, like, the radical change, and I think about it, it's just like with your fasting journey, it's going to be a slow change, like a slow cultural shift. And I really think that's for the best, because if there was such a viral, a viral sensation with intermittent fasting, it would be just like every other gimmicky fad that's out there, which fasting is not a fad. And fasting, as I said, I'm going to keep repeating it, the oldest healing modality in recorded human history. Side note, if you are the nerdy type like I am and you like learning and knowing about this stuff, origins of fasting, you'll see that it's also, as I said before, tied to early pediatric treatment of epilepsy and some cancers. And it was the only introduction with big pharma, introduction of ketogenic modalities, integrating those in with pharmacological interventions that we see started to dissipate with fasting going further and further to the wind, right? Out to the wind, because now we have this magic pill and this is all. So I'm going to pull back on that. But what my point is, that looking for fixes externally without realizing who we are as people, what our bodies are truly capable. I feel like that's doing your life a real big disservice when you seek externally without realizing and knowing the amazing possibilities that your body, you listening to this, you right there, have an incredible body that you live in. And if you have imbalances in weight, if you have excess weight, all that is your body has stored the energy, because all it is energy, stored energy from times of consumption, multiple times of consumption. It's not negative. It's not anything you should see as, a characteristic or trait of you, of who you are as a person. It is extra stored energy. Your body has brilliantly stored aside for later. Now is the time to tell your body, it is now later. Let's use this fuel. Let's burn this extra stored energy and let me restore the balance back to where this perfect homeostatic balance should be restored to. Because it is possible. You can achieve and go get your after. You can do this. I truly believe in every single one of you listening to this. Go get your after. It is waiting and ready for you. I believe in you, even if you don't. If you are in need of supportive coaching on your fasting journey, I am here. I'm ready to support you on your journey. I know you can do this. I'm a product of my lifestyle, and I'm proud to be an advocate and catalyst for change around the world. TheFastingFocusLifestyle.com has my website, calendar, blog, and more. And also, in case you missed it, links to my ebook available for sale on my Etsy page. Truly, y'all, I want you to know that you can achieve this fantastic, healthy, long life for yourself. You can do this. Take care of yourself, and we'll talk again next time. The Fasting Focused Lifestyle Podcast. Copyright 2023. The information given within this podcast is not intended or implied to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Please consult your doctor before starting any weight loss method. Thank you.